What's going on, guys, and welcome to Formula 7 Racing here for the French Grand Prix. I'm just going to do a quick sound check. Let me know if you guys can hear like the game volume and everything like that. It should be a cracker. I apologise once again for the attendance on the grid. A couple of drivers are joining in qualifying. We're getting a few reserves in as well. Let me just jump in a party so I don't distract the drivers. But yeah, once again, guys, we've had 6. In fact, actually, it's not even 6, it's 8, because 2 drivers just haven't even shown up after voting to race. So we've had, I think, 8 drivers not show up. So, Ashley Morgan is on a lap in the Haas, but he's invalidated it. So it's his debut race. We've got XD Paco, his Haas teammate. We've got Tropic Outlaw on his debut as well, right behind XD Paco. So, Gennadi's joined the Mercedes. Undertaker Dillon is in. If you're listening, Gennadi, just stay in the Mercedes. Undertaker Dillon, you just jump in any other car and I'll just count you as a Mercedes driver. So on board with XD Paco. So, XD Paco coming out of the final chicane at turn 15, down towards the line he goes, and he's gone for a hot lap straight away, a 1:29 flat. That is the fastest time today, already with 13 minutes to go. Rocky Man on the mediums comes through. Tropic Outlaw, the Red Bull driver, with a 1:32.0. We've got the AlphaTauri just starting his flying lap, and then we've got the Ferrari of F1 Jax to the line at 1:28.8. What a lap from F1 Jax. His debut race, and he's coming in with a bang, no messing around for the Scuderia. Henke, the Norwegian driver, coming down the Mistral straight down towards turn 10 at the right-hander. Let's see what the Alfa Romeo can pull out the bag with drivers like Jake, XD Paco and F1 Jax on the track. The Alfa Romeo driver coming around turn 12. Up at the slight top of the hill and then down again towards 13. And then to the right and left, that is turn 14 at the pit entrance. In towards turn 15, nice and tight to the curb. Early on the throttle out, DRS enabled, ERS is on, and down the pit straight we go with the Alfa Romeo driver to the line. It's a 1:28.8, and ladies and gentlemen, we have a battle on our hands here in the qualifying session already. Sendro, the other Norwegian, also on a lap, but he has his AlphaTauri teammate just in front of him. That is V10 Reese coming down towards turn 15. Nice and tight to the curb. Great exit out of there. As you see the AlphaTauri just darting down towards the start-finish line. And it's a 1:28.9 and it's P3 for the AlphaTauri. What about the other Norwegian driver? His countryman currently sitting in P2. To the line he goes, P4. Both the AlphaTauris in a 1:28.9. So brilliant laps for the AlphaTauris. Vibes, you can pick any car you want, mate. There's no other driver joining yet. But I did, yeah, I put you in the Aston Martin. You've seen it, good. Here comes the Flying Dutchman of cars in the McLaren. Let's see what he can bring to the table. And to the line, it's a 1:31.4 for cars. YouTube Banana. So the Mercedes driver of Undertaker Dillon. I'm going to refer to him as the Ferrari driver just for the purpose of the stream. but we all know that he's a Mercedes driver. So I'm just going to refer to him as the Ferrari. So we'll stay on board with him as he is next to post his lap. Oh, who's that? Oh, no. Vibes, I think it was Vibes, coming out of the pit lane and just drove straight in front of Undertaker Dylan. Oh, that's so unfortunate for him. And Vibes, surely he had to look and see that that driver was coming on flying laps. Really unfortunate. Undertaker Dylan will have to go round again. But we move on. So a couple of the drivers are on out laps. So one of the Alpines of Ulster is going to join, so I will invite him in. If I can find him, hopefully there he is. Brilliant. So we are on board with a couple of the drivers who are just posting out laps. 9 minutes to go. Ulster is in for the Alpine. So Ashley Morgan will be next. I think there's an Aston Martin. There is. It's Vibes, and he is on his debut race. So we'll go on board with Vibes for a lap. He is on the medium compound tyres. Down in towards turn 1, over the curb, and then nice and tight over the curb at turn 2. Down towards turn 3, which is the right-hander. You'll try and cut across here just near the baton and keep it nice and tight towards turn 4. Going quite slow through this sector as you just hit the end of sector 1. He's gone purple, sector 1. In towards turn 7, and you will hit the DRS straight as he goes flying down towards turn 8. DRS enabled, slams on the brakes over the curb, just easing off the throttle, back onto it out of turn 9 and down towards the end of sector 2 and the start of sector 3 for the Aston Martin. In towards turn 10, which is the right-hander for the Aston Martin, flat out through there, no messing, and in towards the bottom of the hill at turn 11. It's very easy to slide out there, it's a sort of tricky one. So you've got to be extra careful as you come through turn 12 now. The Aston Martin, the other drivers just moving out of the Aston Martin's way. In towards turn 14, nice and tight to the curb, just easing off the throttle, going out wide and then diving back in. And the DRS will be enabled pretty early on. Battery just flying away and the Aston Martin shoots down towards the line. And it's a 1:31.0 and up to P10 on the Aston Martins. Ashley Morgan in the house will be next to the line. And it's a 1:32.7. I think there was another driver there. Who was it? I think it was the Ferrari of Undertaker Dylan, I think. It says he's still on an outlap. We've got a Mercedes just coming through. I think that is Rocketman. Rocketman goes up to P7 with a 1:29.3. Super competitive and very close at the moment on track. Brilliant, Ulster. I'm glad you made it. XD Paco with a 1:28.3 from the Haas driver, and that is unbelievable. He has locked out the front row here in France. Surely nobody gets close to that with 6 minutes to go. F7R Jack in the Red Bull to the line, and it's a 1:30.0, and that's a decent lap from the Red Bull driver. Fanfurness up to P9, Jake in P8. Then we've got Ulster and Undertaker Dylan getting ready to start their lap, so we'll go on board with the Alpine of Ulster and see what he can do as he soars down towards turn 1. Sorry guys, so we are on board with Oster as he comes in towards turn 14. In towards 15. And the Alpine early on the throttle. DRS enabled. Down the pit straight. Where can the Alpine go? And it's up to P7, a 1:29.0. That is a good lap. And by the way, as we were talking there, Henke with a 1:28.6 and his countryman of Senjo with a 1:28.7. So some unbelievable times being set here in France, all the way down to P10 would get you pole position in the Silver Division today, which is just phenomenal. That is the sort of pace we are setting here. Undertaker Dylan in the Ferrari, invalidated it again. Oh my God, he's got 4 minutes to sort his head out. The Scotsman is all over the place. Well, he has set a lap, he's set a banker lap, but he needs to get a decent flyer on the board. We know he's capable of a lot more than this. JTXU in the Aston Martin, down to the line. And the Irishman goes up to P11. So, Kars, the Dutchman, he is going to be next, and into the pit lane he goes. So, no chances for Kars as he dives into the pit lane and gets ready for that one last flying lap. I just want to see what that sounds like, guys, because I want you to also hear the game volume. That should be perfect. So Tropic Outlaw is on an outlap in the Red Bull. So JTXU, I think, will get into the pit lane. I'm not sure if he will have enough time with 2 minutes and 30 to go. He's got around 1 minute and 5 seconds to get in the pit lane, out the pit lane, get them tyres changed. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close. Maybe not enough time. Tropic Outlaw in the Red Bull. Is he on a flyer there? It looks like he's on a flyer, but it looks like he's invalidated it. So yeah, he is. So he will have to go again. So he's invalidated it very early on for the Oracle Red Bull driver. So we'll see what the drivers bring to the table in the race. So every single driver, barring JTXU, is on an outlap. I didn't think he'd have enough time to make it, and he's not. So that is it for him. His best start will be P11. We come down to the business end of qualifying. I will try and catch the leader. There is an Alpha Tauri. Is that Sendro? It's not, it's Reese. Reese currently is in P6 with a 1:28.9, and he will look at improving it and put pedal to the metal here. So here we go, the business end of qualifying. JTXU is out and it's all down to the other drivers. V10 Reese down in towards turn 1, nice and tight to the curb, over the chicane at turn 2, and then shoots down towards turn 3, soaring down at 185 miles an hour as he slams on the brakes. Look at that, cuts as much of the chicane as possible. In towards turn 5, he's purple sector 1 as he dives down towards turn 6 and 7. Out of turn 7, DRS enabled, ERS is on as he's trying to fight through the grid from P6 down towards turn 8 as he slams on the brakes at 190 miles an hour through turn 9, early on the throttle, just trying to ease his way through there as he goes down the Mistral straight towards turn 10 at the right-hander. Purple sector 2 for the Alpha Tauri, nice and tight as he soars down the hill towards turn 11. Very tricky part of the circuit. If you're too early on the throttle, you will lose the rears. Up the hill we go again towards turn 12. Out wide and then into the corner. The checkered flag has waved here in front. Through turn 13 and 14 we go for the AlphaTauri. Towards turn 15, nice and tight. Now he's got to feather that throttle. DRS enabled as we soar down the pitch straight towards the finish line, and it's the front row at the moment provisionally for Reese. It's the Red Bull that is going to be next, but he's invalidated it. That is Tropic Outlaw. The Aston Martin will be right behind him. That is Vibes, who's also invalidated it. The Mercedes is just coming out of turn 15. That is Rocket Man. Can he show us a rocket as he comes to the line? P8 for Rocket Man. It's the Alpine of Ulster who goes up to P6. Here comes Ashley Morgan to the line. Stays P17. The Alfa Romeo of Henke locks out the front row in P2. We've got the McLaren of Fanfinus. Cars, who goes up to P3. Then we've got the Williams of Jake, who stays in P12. The Ferrari is going to be next. That's Fanfinus up to P7 in the McLaren. F1 Jax comes to the line. P5 for F1 Jax. Then we got the Haas of XD Paco, who goes even quicker. Unbelievable. XD Paco has taken pole position here in front by nearly 3/10 of a second. He showed great dexterity in his driving during qualifying, and that was amazing. XD Paco and Henke occupying the top two. Wow, wow, wow. If that's anything to go off, we are in for a good race. XD Paco, the Dutchman in the Haas, claims pole position here in front. Alongside him, occupying the front row, it's Henke, the Norwegian, in the Alfa Romeo. On the second row of the grid, it's another Dutchman in the McLaren of Cars, and alongside him is V10 Reese in the AlphaTauri. His countryman of F1 Jax right behind him in the Ferrari on the third row of the grid in P5, and then Senjo, the other Norwegian, in the AlphaTauri in P6. Fanfinus in the McLaren on the fourth row of the grid in P7, alongside him Ulster in the Alpine in P8. On the fifth row of the grid, it's the Scotsman of Rocketman in the Mercedes in P9, and Lewis, the British driver in the Alfa Romeo, completes your top 10. Then we'll just get the other ones for the screenshot. Guys, I'm just going to grab a quick drink whilst the formation lap's on, so I've not gone anywhere. Yeah, as Red said, Dennis, it worked fine in bronze and silver, so I don't know if it is glitched. Hopefully not. Here we go, guys. This is it. Good luck to everybody. Keep it clean, you know the rules. As Bevo would say. Here we go. This is it. For the French Grand Prix. Remember, we are sponsored by Rock Solid Rigs and we're partnered up with TTL Esports. Here we go at Formula 7. And it's the lights out and away we go. XD Paco got an amazing start. Look at the Ferrari of F1 Jackson to go down into turn 1. He's on the inside. The Scuderia right down the inside and up into the podium places straight away. What an amazing start from the Ferrari driver. The McLaren of Fanfurness is at 1 position. Here comes Oster in the Alpine down the inside of turn 5. The wheel-to-wheel action as they're battling through. Undertaker Dylan in the Ferrari going through on Lewis. You got Jack in the Red Bull who collides with Gennady in the Mercedes. XD Paco leads to Henke in second. F1 Jax is up 2 places into P3. But he has cars in the McLaren chasing him down. Into the slipstream he goes, but he does not have the straight line speed. Here comes his countryman of Fanfurness in the other McLaren who goes up to P5. Oster in the Alpine up through on Sendro. Here comes Jake to make his 4th overtake of the opening lap on the AlphaTauri of Sendro. Undertaker Dylan is through on the Scotsman of the Rocket Man. Incredible start from the drivers. Fantastic driving, very clean. Here comes Henke on XD Paco for the lead of this Grand Prix. F1 Jax just watches on. Oster with a slight mistake. Here comes the Williams of Jake, who's already up 4 places. Sendro down 3. Vibes is through on his teammate. The 2 Aston Martins going wheel to wheel. A bit of action. No team orders in that garage. On the softs though is JTXU, so he will be held up on the faster tyre compound. But at the end of the opening lap, it's TTL XD Paco in the lead of this Grand Prix. But for how long, as he has Henke chasing him down as they scramble down towards turn 1 and 2 here in France. Jax is right there on the tail, still with the leaders of this Grand Prix. Fantastic opening lap to the French Grand Prix. JTXU is through on his teammate of Vibes on the soft compound tyre. XD Paco still leading. To Henke, to Jax, to Cars and Fanfurness, the 2 McLarens in great racing positions. And you've got Reese there, who's just sort of the marker. And here goes Henke. He looked for a move just for a split second. And as these continue to squabble out in front, it gives F1 Jax a good opportunity just to stick with them. Look at this from Henke. He is chasing down that Haas driver. They literally could not be closer. And as we come down towards turn 13 at the end of lap 2, it is still Paco who is in the lead. And look at this train that is formed. Jake just trying to stay with them. Senjo, Undertaker, Dylan, Oster, then Rocketman, Lewis. Every single driver in this train. So XD Paco is on the hard compound tyres. DRS is now enabled. And we know how strong the DRS is around a circuit like France. Ashley Morgan already with a time penalty. Soft compounds for Jake. So here we go. Henke with the DRS. And for the first overtake and the lead of the Grand Prix for Henke. And the Norwegian is taken the lead of this Grand Prix. XD Paco slots in behind him. He has F1 Jacks in the Scuderia on his tail. And then come the two fighting papayas. V10 Reese is also on the hards. Senjo through on Jake. Down the inside goes Senjo. And the Williams having to back out. The Williams did start on the softs. He would be hoping for a better start to this Grand Prix, considering I know he's made quite a few overtakes, but he would want to start opening up a gap, especially on this strategy, as he now has Undertaker Dylan chasing him down. Then goes Jack and Tropic Outlaw, and Jack goes round the outside. Tropic Outlaw down the inside as he just touch ever so slightly. Will F1 Jacks look for a move on XD Paco? Kaz is getting right involved now. It is literally all to play for. Every single driver all the way down to P14 is in this DRS train on lap 4. I take my hats off. Very clean driving from the gold drivers tonight. I know we're only on lap 4, but praise them when you can. Here comes Kaz. Here comes F1 Jacks. He's looking. He's having a little peek on XD Paco. What about Tropic Outlaw and Ashley Morgan? Just a little bit far back to make an overtake. And there goes Fanfinus. The two McLarens have traded places. Surely that's not team orders if I know these two drivers. There goes Cars back down the inside. Oh, they've left each other room, but they continue to battle. The two McLarens, no love lost. And both from the Netherlands have swapped positions. Fanfinus now up to P4. How much will Cars let him get away with this? That is the question, as all 14 drivers continue to be stuck in this DRS train. Yeah, Dennis, definitely, mate. Oh, Jax went a little bit wide, maybe a warning. As he just starts to open up a little gap. That's Undertaker Dylan. Undertaker Dylan and Jake. And we know they were next to each other on the track, so that looks like it's a collision. Ginaudi goes through on Jake. Yeah, and that does look like a collision. There goes Lewis on Rocketman, who's up to P9. So Jake is back through on Ginaudi. Hopefully they didn't get damaged. Jake's not got damage, and neither is Undertaker Dylan. So it looks like, oh, that's XD Paco! The pole sitter is round here in France, and he will have to do it all over again as he goes down the inside of Lewis W in the Alfa Romeo. But XD Paco with a 360 shuffle and comes back on the track. But he is still in P8, so it's not all lost for the Haas driver. But Undertaker, Dylan and Jake just looks like one of them have collided with the other because none of them had damage. Dennis, you've jinxed him there. Now Jax is fighting for the race lead and he knows that he's not stuck in that DRS train, so he's going to have an opportunity. That's Undertaker Dylan back through on Jake. Down the inside goes Jake, but he cannot keep the position. And he will have to concede to the Scotsman on the medium compound tyre. Here comes Tropic Outlaw as Ashley Morgan is all over the place in that heart. He's already got quite a few penalties. 9 seconds in the opening 6 laps. There goes Vibes. Oh, JTXU is round. Cars and Fanfinus. Oh, Cars and Fanfinus. Here comes Reese in the Alpha Tauri. So as the McLarens continue to squabble, it's giving the 2 Alpha Tauris opportunities to make the moves. The Alpha Tauris are a lot smarter than this, though. They will not start squabbling like the Papayas are doing. Here comes Fanfinus once again. They're both very low on ERS. And Fanfinus has conceded the position to Cars, the position that he stole off him just a couple of laps ago. So Jake is trying to make a move on Undertaker Dylan. Ginaudi is through on Jake. Jack is on the back of JTXU. Here comes the Red Bull on the Aston Martin. Down in towards turn 15 they go. And can Jack try and get an overtake completed? He just doesn't have that straight line speed at the moment. So with the McLarens battling so hard, they've created a 1.7 second gap to the front 2, which is not what the 2 McLarens needed, and seems like they've not been smart about this. Here comes Fanfinus. Maybe they are going to try it a bit different now. And Jax has got a 3-second time penalty. That could be very costly come the end of this Grand Prix. We said we seen him go wide just 2 laps previous, and it has caught him. It has caught him out here in France. We know it's a difficult circuit for corners. Fanfinus is a 10th of a second behind his teammate, and it's getting very tasty. Look how close the 2 Alpha Tauris are to the back of Fanfinus now. It's getting very close. But he's doing his bit here, Fanfinus, just to hold the 2 Alpha Tauris. He knows they've got pace, and they're both very quick drivers. So F1 Jack still on the back of Henke, still got that DRS. Henke can't shake him off yet. And Reese will start to find that his hard tyres will come into play in this race, the same as XD Paco. So I don't think Senjo will try to make the move on his teammate. Jack is throwing JTXU. And that is Ashley, I thought that was Ashley Morgan that's round, but Jack in the Red Bull is through on the Aston Martin. Here comes Jax, he's closed that gap rapidly to Henke. So the Alfa Romeo and the Ferrari, both manufactured in Italy. Battling it out down towards turn 13. But at the moment, Henke has shown great dexterity in this race so far. And here comes Jax closing the gap. it's an entertaining battle between the front two, if I must say so myself. You've also got Oster now on the rear diffuser of that Haas in front. Ashley Morgan now makes it 12 seconds of penalties, so he's just struggling in that Haas. Undertaker Dylan right on the back of Vibes in the Aston Martin, and then Ginaudi behind them, and there goes Senjo. They have traded places. That looks like they were doing it strategically, and it looks like Reese has let Senjo through, and I'm guessing their thinking behind this is Senjo is on mediums, Reese is on hard, so Reese has said, Senjo, you go now, you try and get the overtakes on the McLarens whilst you've got the faster tyres, then come in the next couple of laps, we'll switch back, or you go into the pit lane and I'll carry on for a few more laps. So the Alpha Tower is 100% working together here in France. Ashley Morgan now 15 seconds. He's going to get disqualified before the end of this race. Here comes Vibes and Undertaker Dylan. The Ferrari around the outside of the Aston Martin tries to turn in a little bit too early as he gets all squirrely, hits the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin just collides with the Williams. The Ferrari has not even come back on track. Now he comes back on track, nearly into the Mercedes, in towards turn 15. He goes very deep, the Ferrari, and collides with Jake again, but they all get through unscathed. Wow. So the McLarens, because they are sticking within each other and staying in that DRS range, they're managing to fend off the attacks from the Alpha Tauris. But Senjo got a great exit. This could be his opportunity for the Norwegian to make the move on Fanfurness. But he can't, even with the DRS, because they are locked in that DRS train. Here comes Oster in the Alpine, who is through an XD Paco and up to P7 for Oster. That's a yellow flag. That is a Ferrari. That's Undertaker Dylan again that is round. Undertaker Dylan in the Scuderia, not having the best evening of racing. Senjo just cannot find a passage through these McLarens, the same as Reese couldn't. That's probably why they decided to swap. 17 laps to go. We are coming into pit stop territory. And a fantastic, entertaining race we have had on our hands so far. F1 Jack's a little bit cautious through there. Ginaldi's into the pit lane. So Jake goes through. He does have Vibes on his tail. Senjo, he's got to get this overtake done, Oster, with that 3-second time penalty. I'm sure we'll see a lot more drivers with penalties by the end of this Grand Prix. So look at this. Fanfurness has lost quite a bit of time to cars. Surely this is the opportunity. Undertaker Dylan has retired in the pit lane. So that's the end of his race. XD Paco is back through on Oster. He is back through as they reach turn 8 and 9. And the Haas driver returns to P7. Rocketman with a penalty. I think one of these drivers might go for the undercut. Here comes Vibes on Jake out of turn 9 for the Aston Martin. The yellow flag's still waving because that is Undertaker Dylan's car that is coming out of the pit lane. Hopefully it does not hinder any of the drivers as they are coming round turn 15 at the moment. Rattlesnake Rats, how you doing, Dad? Henke is in the lead this Grand Prix, and Fanfurness is the first to pit, so he's gone for that undercut. So has Rocketman. The Mercedes and the McLaren have gone for the undercut, but that has left cars wide open. But very cleverly, what the McLarens have done is pitted the driver behind instead of the driver in front, which has given that little bit of space to the other McLaren, and it might stop the AlphaTauri from getting DRS. If this happens, this has been timed perfectly, and they've done it. They've absolutely done it. That is beautifully executed from the two McLaren cars. That leaves Reese to go through on his teammate because he has no other option, as he has that DRS enabled, and they've done really well. They will now be back within DRS range of the McLaren because they've used each other to get back in that range. But Cars might end up pitting this lap to follow his teammate and be pretty much back where he started. And the two AlphaTauris will return back behind them. Very good racing and a good strategy. Here comes Oster back on XD Paco in the Haas. And the Alpine onto the rear diffuser. So we had Fanfrenas already pit. He's gone for the undercut. What about the rest of the grid? What do they do? We've got the Alfa Romeo coming through. F1 Jax is into the pit lane. So the driver who is leading this Grand Prix alongside Henke, well, he's in P2. And Cars gets a 5-second time penalty. That is so costly. 13 laps gone, 14 to go. F1 Jax has gone for the undercut. So is XD Paco. Vibes goes in. Vibes is retired. I tell you what, Vibes isn't even in the pit lane. Vibes has just come out of turn 9 and retired on track. That's not what we do here, Vibes, unfortunately. That's not what we do, mate. He's just come out of turn 9 and just retired on track as he's driving. So, they are coming out of the pit lane. No, Vibes, it just said you retired on track, and that's it. I did think it was strange, mate, but yeah, as you know, that's not what we do. So, Sendro and Reese, they have stayed out. So, they've basically committed themselves to losing the positions to the McLarens at this point. F1 Jax is around 17.5 seconds behind the AlphaTauri, so he'll return to about 3.5, 4 seconds in front if the AlphaTauri pit at the end of this lap. No problem, Vibes. I don't know what happened then, mate. It just says you retired on track. That's all it says. But in the 3.5 years that I've been hosting lobbies and commentating on races, I've never seen it where... I've seen it where it will kick drivers from the lobby, obviously, from the race. But I've never seen it where it will retire their car. So, very strange, mate. Lewis on the back of Oster, so we'll have a look at it, Vibes. Don't worry. Cars gets a 3-second time penalty. He already got 5 for speeding into the pit lane. So, Senjo and Reese, they've stayed out for another lap. So has Henke. Wow. Let's have a look at tyres. So, obviously, Reese is going to stay out because he's on the hards. Fanfrenas already setting fastest laps. He came out nearly 2 seconds in front of his teammate just by undercutting him by 1 lap. So, that is massive. And now Fanfrenas is trying to catch up to F1 Jax. Vibes, if you're still in, mate, just make sure you screen record or you know, whatever gameplay when it kicks you out, and we'll make sure that you don't get penalised for it from the stewards. Oh, Reese! Reese has spun it. Oh, he can still recover from this point. But he's made a huge mistake, Reese, and he's lost it on lap 14. He will definitely go into the pits now, surely. Or can he regain it, take the heat out of them tyres, and go again? Lewis on the back of Oster. Really unfortunate for Reese there. He just cannot buy any luck at the moment. There is Jake through on Tropic Outlaw. And the Williams is up to P11. So F1 Jax, that's 1 less driver he will have to get through. And Reese has stayed out, so he's cooled them tyres down. Ashley Morgan has 18 seconds of penalties in 15 laps. Jesus, that's a lot, actually. Be careful, mate. You're going to get disqualified in a minute. So XD Paco is on the back of Cars. He knows he's got 8 seconds worth of penalties, the McLaren. So, we've had 2 DNS. One of them, though, was getting kicked out, and the other was retiring in the pit lane again. Undertaker Dylan, that is, I think, the 4th time this season he's retired in the pit lane. So do need to look at that, as it is against the rules to retire in the pit lane in a race, and especially when a driver is consistently doing it. Like, if a driver has a good race, I understand. Like, if a driver has a bad race and they just go and retire in the pit lane every single time, it's a little bit frustrating. There goes Paco up through on cars, and it's just like, basically all that tells me, there goes Lewis on Oster in towards turn 8, and the Alfa Romeo is through on the Alpine. It just tells me every time you're not having a race that you want, you just can't be arsed and just retire in the pit lane, and it's not really on. Anything can happen in a league race. Plus, even if I have a bad race, I sort of pride myself on never retiring. Like, I've not had one retirement this season. I only had one last season, which was because somebody hit me under a safety car. I won't mention any names. And so I've only had one DNF in, at the moment, 32 races. I'm proud of that. I don't understand why other drivers aren't. There goes Oster on Lewis, and the Alpine driver is back up to P8 as they go in towards turn 1. Gennady, Tropic Outlaw is into the pit lane. XD Paco is on the back of Fanfinus. He is on the medium compound tyre, so he will be that little bit faster at the moment. So there's a lot of gaps opening up, but that will soon change once the drivers pit. Here comes XD Paco on Fanfinus, and it did not take him long to make that move and up to P5. The recovery drive is on for the Haas, and Lewis and Oster are just not giving it a rest. They are having some battle here, and Rocket Man tried to stick it up the inside of Oster as well as he cuts the chicane, and that was a big corner cut from Rocket Man, and there goes Paco with the switcheroo. What a move. Fanfinus will try and dive up the inside. The McLaren driver just backed out. Great racing from the two of them. Here now comes Cars on his teammate Henke and Sendro, are now both into the pit lane. So is Reese. Reese finally pits the two McLarens. What will go on? Will it be team orders? F1 Jax is now your race leader on lap 17. Henke and Sendro have gone for softs. Wow. Reese has had to double stack. He's gone for softs as well. Softs is a big call on lap 17. Rocket Man has left the session. He's not even retired. He's just gone into the pit lane and left the session. That is absolutely unacceptable. So here comes Cars. Can he get the move done on his teammate from one McLaren to another? And Fanfinus is holding on because he does have that DRS from XD Paco in front, who is now only 2.6 seconds behind F1 Jax for the lead of this Grand Prix after that spin, and down to P8 as well. Oster with Lewis, they've had one hell of a battle, a cracking, entertaining squabble between the two of them, the Alpine and the Alfa Romeo, and Oster wants to make it even more entertaining as they go down in towards turn 10. He will look up the inside as they go down the hill towards 11. Wheel to wheel go the Alpine and the Alfa Romeo. This is a fascinating watch. The Alfa Romeo will have the inside line as to go up towards turn 12. The Alpine will try and switch back. He nearly gets it successfully. He will now get pushed around the outside and the long way up towards turn 14 near the pit entry. But it's the Alfa Romeo of Lewis that just stays in front for now. The Alpine will have the DRS as they come down the pit straight, and surely he will take that position 6 right back out the hands of Lewis, and he does. The Alpine is back up to P6, and Lewis will look for a way to grab that move back off him. Fanfinus with a 3-second time penalty. Jake has left the session. I'll try to invite Jake back. That doesn't sound like Jake. What's going on, Sean? How you doing, mate? That's Cars and Fanfurness. So the two McLarens have traded places now. 9 laps to go. So Lewis and Oster are giving us something to watch here. Unlucky, mate. Ashley Morgan. That is 21 seconds now. So Fanfurness will just try and stick with his teammate for as long as possible. He knows he's got Henke on them soft compound tyres, just tracking them down. So Lewis and Oster have now been sort of reeled in by the Alfa Romeo Sendro, who is going to make the move and up to P7, but he's on them softs, so Oster and Lewis will not look at battling the Alpha Tauri at all here, and sort of delaying their race between each other. So Sendro should make light work of this as they go into the DRS straight. Lewis with a 3-second time penalty, who's stuck behind Sendro. And Sendro just needs to be careful. He knows he can get this move done on the Alpine. He will have DRS. Henke is through on Fanfurness round the outside as well. And Sendro is through on Oster. Henke gets a 3-second. You don't see that every day. And up to P6 is Sendro, but he's 7 seconds to Fanfurness. That's a big gap. Jake is back in. So I will invite Rocketman just in case, but it looks like the fact that he went into the pit lane and then left. Yeah, he's not even online now. JTXU is through on the Williams of Jake, who will try and return back to his seat. So Henke and Cars. He's got the DRS. Will he go for the move? Will he go for the double overtake? Here comes Henke in the Alfa Romeo. The free widen towards turn 1. And he backs out. And that was good driving for the Alfa Romeo. It could have ended in tears. And XD Paco will be thankful that Henke decided to back out. Remember, he is on them soft compound tyres, so he's absolutely flying. But free widen to turn 1 is not what you want to do in France. Round turn 6 and 7. And the DRS will kick in, and Henke will go back up to P2 as he makes the overtake on XD Paco in the Haas, the Norwegian, on the Dutchman. So Oster and Lewis. Lewis has got the DRS, so we'll start to sort of reel him back in again. But Henke is flying. Look how much the gap is going down to Jax. But them soft compounds surely will fall off before the end of this race. 7 laps remaining as F1 Jax gets a 3 seconds, another 3 seconds. That's the sort of track that we're racing on though. So Henke is inside DRS of F1 Jax. And Jax will probably just let Henke go at this point and start to chase him down when his soft tyres fall off that cliff. I mean, in no means do I think that Jax is going to make this easy for Henke, because the more he holds him up, the better it is for him in the long run. JTXU is through on Ginaudi. The aerial shots of this entertaining contest. Now here comes Henke on F1 Jax, the Alfa Romeo on the Ferrari. Down towards turn 8 they go, and it's Henke that returns into the lead of the French Grand Prix. He will be flying. Look how much quicker he is out of the corners. 6 attempts he took out of him out of that corner. XD Paco is now within DRS range of F1 Jax. Senjo still trying to make the most of them softs. And remember, XD Paco does not have a time penalty, so at the moment would still win this race. Let's have a look at the penalties. So 3 for Henke, 6 for Jax, 11 for Cars, but he got that 5 seconds for speeding into the pit lane. 21 though for Ashley Morgan there, 12 even for GTXU. It's a difficult track for penalties. Lewis wants to regain that position back off Ulster. Jake is through on GTXU for P11. Here comes XD Paco on Jack. They are now both outside of the DRS range of the leader. And Henke will be thinking in his head, I need to create a big enough gap for when my tyres do go off that I'm not in range of these guys. Here comes XD Paco as Jax moves to the left and says, I will slot back in behind you. And XD Paco up to P2, F1 Jax in P3. But the Ferrari does have some straight line speed as they shoot down towards turn 10. The right-hander. And F1 Jax still looking for a move on the Haas driver. Lewis right on the tail of the Alpine. He did get a better exit as they go slightly downhill towards turn 11. The Alpine just keeping the position for now. And GTXU with that DRS closing the gap on the Williams. So 1.8 seconds is the gap that Henke has managed to build up. That's 24 seconds now for Ashley Morgan. So the two McLarens in P4 and P5 still. After that spin for Reese, he's found it very hard to return into position. If he manages to get past Lewis and Ulster, it would be a good result here for Reese. So DRS enabled for F1 Jax. And down towards turn 8. Over the chicane and nice and tight to the curb for 9. Lewis, this might be his opportunity. And just slightly lifts, I think, there. Might be a bit of tactical gameplay now for the Alfa Romeo. I think we'll see a few drivers start to build up ERS. A bit of a shake there from the Alfa Romeo. Are we starting to see a little bit of signs of struggling tyre wear? Lewis on Ulster. So Lewis still trying to find an opportunity. In towards turn 5. Gennady going into the pit lane. Will he try and come out and set that fastest lap? No, he just retires, calls it a day. That's fine. Thank you for reserving, Gennady. Really appreciate that, mate. He always does that when he's reserving. He will retire near the end of the race as to not take any points or mess up any standings. But thank you very much, Gennady, for reserving. I tell you what, Jack in the Red Bull in the top 10. Fair play to him. So here comes Jax. Can he make the move? The gap to Henke is 2.1, and Ashley Morgan, who is the back marker, is about to be overtaken by his Haas teammate. Will that hinder him at all? Over the chicane. Sendro might be able to pinch P5 here. It looks very murky above, but we've seen no signs of rain so far. Remember, as it stands, Henke does have that time penalty. Did I just see a spot of rain? Henke does have that time penalty. And there goes Sendro for P5 in this Grand Prix, and without any penalties. So at the moment, would get a podium. Back-to-back podiums for Sendro. Fanfness will have something to say about it though. Here comes F1 Jax on XD Paco looking for the move. He knows Paco is flashing in front. There goes Sendro and Fanfness wheel to wheel. Down the inside goes Sendro in the Alpha Tauri. The McLaren just slotting in behind him. Still looking for a move. And in towards turn 15. And it is Sendro that gets a good exit. But the McLaren will have DRS. Here comes F1 Jax on XD Paco closing down the gap. But we jump back on board with Fanfness. Is he going to go for the lunge down the inside? He doesn't. He backs out. He's become a very smart driver as Fanfness. F1 Jax still looking on XD Paco as we've got 2 laps to go. No problem, Ben. Hope you had a good day, mate. We had... Oh! Henke has just received another penalty with a lap and a half to go. Here comes F1 Jax for P2 with 2 laps to go. The Ferrari driver is up to P2. XD Paco is in P3, but he would still win this Grand Prix. So Henke with another time penalty, he will still keep P2, but XD Paco is going to nick the race victory away from Henke here. Yeah, Ben, we had 8 drivers out of goal not turn up, so don't worry, mate. Scrambling for reserves again. And that's Tropic Outlaw on Jake. Jake is into the pit lane. Jack in P10, a point in the pole division. And then Rocket Man as well. He's just lost his seat. He went into the pit lane on like lap 14 and just left the session. Didn't even retire, so his car's still on track and he's not even here. He just left the session. His first race back in gold, and he just drives in the pit lane and leaves. So it's very frustrating considering the work that everybody puts in. Here comes Fanfness. Oh, he's backed out again. Wow, he is leaving it till the final straight. We are on the very final lap of the French Grand Prix. It has been amazing, absolutely amazing. Some cracking battles, such good side-to-side racing. Here comes Henke on the very final lap. F1 Jax chasing him down. Henke's softs look like they've hit the wall. XD Paco is not going to be able to catch Jax, but he knows they've got time penalties. Did Sendro make the right decision in overtaking Fanfness? Did Fanfness do well holding on? He does. Sendro got DRS from a back marker. But Fanfness, if he had got DRS from that back marker and managed to stay in front, he would not have been happy. But Fanfness has pinched P5 back. Lewis and Oster, who have had cracking battles throughout the whole race, continue to squabble on the very last lap. Here comes XD Paco and F1 Jax. The Ferrari driver getting all squirrely coming out of turn 11 and up towards 12. Down towards turn 13. It looks like it is going to be Henke that reaches the line first. But it looks like XD Paco is going to be back with a bang. F1 Jax on his debut Grand Prix here at Formula 7 might just have secured a podium. But it's going to be Henke that comes through to win. But it's going to be XD Paco that takes the victory. XD Paco wins the French Grand Prix. Henke takes P2 and F1 Jax on his debut race just pinches P3. Senjo had no time penalties, but that battling with the McLarens saved the Ferrari. Well done, amazing. Cracking racing from all round. So, Senjo nearly got screwed over by a back marker. Fanfrenes, sorry, nearly got screwed over by a back marker who was giving Senjo DRS on the very final lap there. Ashley Morgan, who had 28 seconds worth of time penalties. There we go on the top step, XD Paco. Let's go through your race results. So it is XD Paco that takes the race victory here in France. Henke in the Alfa Romeo takes P2, and it's the Ferrari of F1 Jax that takes the final podium position. Senjo takes P4 in the Alfa Tauri, and the two McLarens come home in P5 and P6. Oster in the Alpine in P7 and Lewis in the Alfa Romeo in P8. V10 Reese in the Alfa Tauri in P9, and Jack in the Red Bull takes a point in P10. My driver of the day will go to, I think F1 Jax had a phenomenal drive from P5, ended up on the podiums, could have even had P2, so we'll go with F1 Jax. That is the other standings. I will skip the interviews as I've got quite a bit to do. I'm back in work in the morning. I've got to sort out all the standings and the race results, and one of the drivers is crossplay as well. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Thank you for all the reserves stepping in on late notice. I will try and sort that out. I will try and sort the drivers who didn't show up, because I don't want this to happen in 2 weeks' time when we return to Netherlands, because it's not acceptable. We want all drivers to show up and race when they're supposed to, and not just vote to race and not show up on race day. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Well done to all the drivers. That was one of the best races I've watched in a very long time. So good work to all the drivers involved. And thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for Fantasy F7. You will be joined by Red Wildfire, an amazing commentator she is. And she's done a great job with Fantasy. I will be racing alongside my teammate. It's a your team, your logo, your livery sort of concept. It's a constructors based championship only, and make sure you tune in, and then we'll be back with Realistic on Wednesday. We have a 2-week break from our Sunday division, so we're not racing next week. It's Mother's Day in the UK, and then the week after we return to Netherlands. Remember, I'm going to be doing a watch along for qualifying and the race in Jeddah. If you want to come and join, even come and join the podcast, let me know and we'll sort something out. But yeah, make sure you tune in for that as well. Thanks, guys.